Peter Alarid can't sleep. He's on high alert, like he was in combat in Iraq 8 years ago. His kids are safe in bed, and his wife is worried.
He's always in fear, waiting for something terrible to happen.
But even the most secure bunker can't keep out the memories that haunt him and make life unbearable.
And he feels like he's broken. And he feels like me and the kids would be better off if he were dead. I can't imagine being that afraid all the time. They say that's what PTSD is.
It's one of the invisible wounds of war, post-traumatic stress disorder, and the new front line for hundreds of thousands of soldiers is coming home. This is a story about broken soldiers, their wives, and an unusual place they will travel to find healing. What's at stake here this week?
This week, I need a new source of hope.
For these soldiers and their spouses, it may be the most heroic thing they will ever do. America, it can be inspiring and beautiful. It can also be dark and ugly. It's so many things, but it's ours. It's our America. In a small town in upstate New York is a place of last resort. A place for people who are lost and feel they have nowhere else to turn. This place is only a phone call away.
Are you gonna be safe from hurting yourself or killing yourself in the meeting?
And you be sure to tell him too about that suicide attempt on the weekend you mentioned.
What I hear you saying is that you want to kill yourself tonight, but what I'm asking you is, can I get help to you tonight?
This is the Veterans Crisis Line. Created 3 years ago by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, this is a lifeline for the hundreds of thousands of veterans who suffer the psychological wounds of war.
Are you feeling like you're gonna blow your hand? Listen to me. Are you feeling like you're gonna blow your hands off right now?
Extreme anxiety, obtrusive thoughts, uncontrollable anger. These are the symptoms of post-traumatic stress that can lead to suicide.
It's 8 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast, and the hotline is really buzzing. It's obvious that there are a lot of people in this country who are going through pretty serious despair because all the lines seem to be occupied right now.
Do you really think that your door is going to stop the police if you're feeling suicidal?
Dan is on the line with a veteran who feels she has nothing left to live for.
Well, you may not have to let them in, but they'll come in. See, that's what has me troubled. If that had been my son, I would wanted to move Earth and whatever else we move to be alive. I mean, I've sat with you for, what, about an hour now? And I still haven't gotten anything out of you. Our job is to gain the caller's trust in order for them to settle down and agree to some type of a safety plan. With this particular individual, we were not making progress. Which hospital would you like to go to?
Dan has alerted the health tech, and she is calling local law enforcement to come extricate her from her apartment and take her to get help.
You discussed it with your counselor, or you didn't? Do you see the ambulance out there right now?
Yeah, they should be out in front.
Dan, can you hear them?
I can, yep, they're in.
Okay.
Go get the door for them.
Since the hotline first opened, people like Dan have rescued thousands of veterans from what has become their most dangerous enemy, themselves.
I know you're a veteran.
Yes.
Where were you deployed?
Which time?
How many times have you been deployed?
I've been in 3 theaters. So my last one was Iraq. I have PTSD myself.
But as a veteran, can you identify with the pain that a lot of these people are feeling when they call?
I think it gives me a little more experience as far as knowing where they've been. The average person in the United States has no idea what it takes for someone to survive over there.
Dr. Janet Kemp of the Department of Veteran Affairs was one of the key people in starting this lifeline.
What kind of courage does it take to call and ask an anonymous person for help?
I think that's the most courage you'll ever be asked to muster up. I think that's kind of the final courageous act. It's hard to admit that you need anything from anyone because you've been so strong for so long. I think there's still a great deal of stigma, even though it's getting better, about asking for help. We still hear reports of people who die by suicide who haven't called, who haven't reached out, didn't know that they could. I think we have a huge responsibility to let people know that there is help out there and that there's hope. If we are people's only connection to hope, that's what we want to be.
Okay.
Right now, Bruce is communicating with a woman, a vet, who has been thinking about driving her car off the bridge or committing suicide with sleeping pills.
Right.
You are basically right now trying to stop a suicide.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go. She's a 1-year-old kid. She grabbed the kid because the kid was underfoot and fell out and started crying, and she got frustrated and grabbed the kid out of frustration and then got really upset by that.
Do you know if the child's okay?
The child is in a different room with an older sibling, and the child's okay. I mean, she grabbed her. It doesn't sound like she did anything to hurt her. She just kind of grabbed her in frustration and then kind of freaked out about it, okay?
Okay, great.
All right,
Thanks for
cool.
handling it.
Yep.
My name is Gina. I'm with the Veterans Crisis Hotline. Hi, how are you? Okay. You're having a rough time tonight. You feeling overwhelmed? Like you're having an anxiety attack, or tell me. So you feel like a burden, and when you ask for help, you feel guilty about it. Okay, how old are your kids? 5 and 1. But they're safe right now, and you're feeling like you're in control of your actions? Okay, good. Because I'm concerned about you, and I know that you're concerned about yourself too, and I know that what happened with your daughter when you grabbed her and when you were upset, that you didn't mean it. You obviously love your children so much, and you love yourself too, and that's what matters. All right, well, I hope you have a good night, and thanks again for calling. All right, you're welcome. Bye.
What is that like when you hear someone on the other line just crying and letting go to you?
I keep saying the word privilege. It's a privilege to answer the calls. Some of these people are so isolated that maybe they haven't talked to anybody in sometimes months. And for me to be able to be that voice of calm assurance, I'm happy to be that person. I mean, sometimes I'll even say, I know that you're out of hope tonight, and you're trusting me with what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm going to carry some of this hope for you.
What time of day is it there? 1:34 in the morning, and you can't sleep, huh?
This hotline gets over 400 calls a day. And as I listen to the responders, I'm starting to grasp the scope of the problem. The truth is, every day, 18 veterans commit suicide.
Stated there was a .45 caliber in the house, okay?
More vets have taken their own lives right here at home than have died in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan combined.
And he stated he was ready to blow his head off.
Do we have a real crisis on our hands?
We don't have enough people to handle what's gonna come down later on, with all the people coming back. Enough psychiatrists, psychologists. They're gonna need a lot more when everybody comes home.
Coming home. It's what men and women like Peter Alarid dream about. Serving our country, surviving, and getting back to their families.
When he came home, we were ecstatic because he had come back alive and looked well.
8 years ago, Peter came home from the front lines of Iraq. His wife, Andrea, and their 3 kids were there to greet him.
I knew the first time I looked in Peter's face that there was something very different, There was an emptiness that I had never seen before.
The man who came home was not the man she married. Peter was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. He's tried medication, endless therapy. Nothing works. At 34 years old, the former Marine is unable to work and is now on full disability.
Peter's never really told me what went on, what he saw, or what he did in Iraq. That it was bad enough that it rules our lives.
Christian, get that off now. Take it off. Take it off. Christian, put on my uniform.
Oh, Christian, no. Christian, no.
Every day, the past comes crashing into Peter's world. The crack of a bat or the unexpected shriek of a child can trigger paranoia, hypervigilance, irrational fears. Now, even the simplest American pastimes can feel like an all-out battle.
I feel really nervous. It's like I'm just waiting for something to happen. It's like on edge or something, you know? When I was in Iraq, being alert is part of the job, is part of what you had to do to survive. Now here, it's like, I can't shut it off. I have this like ugly feeling inside, like it feels like I'm rotted inside, and it feels like rage inside me. I'm afraid I'm gonna react to a certain situation and I'm not gonna be able to control myself.
Though he's never physically harmed his family, Andre and the kids never know when Peter will react with fits of rage. When he's at his darkest, he locks himself away for days at a time.
If Peter's detached from me, or even yelling and screaming at me, I can take it. I'm an adult. But there's that mama bear instinct to protect my kids from him.
Okay, sit down.
Sit down.
You guys are silly.
I'm like trapped in my own little world. Just nothing makes sense every day. I feel like I'm not a good dad, or I feel like my kids deserve better.
It wasn't always this way. Peter and Andrea were still teenagers when they met and fell in love 15 years ago.
Peter was very happy, very athletic, just a sweet, family-oriented, good person.
All my life, since I was a little kid, that's what I wanted to be, was a dad and have a family. I always wanted to be a family man. That's why I joined the military. I wanted to better myself for my family. I felt like it was really something my son would be proud of, saving people's lives and stuff like that.
Then came war, and the very thing Peter hoped would define him has prevented him from being the man he always wanted to be.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
For a great day.
For a great day.
For keeping us safe today.
For keeping us safe today.
Please send your guardian angels to care for those that are sick and lonely.
Sick and lonely.
I want my kids to have a normal, happy life. I want to know that the Peter that I married is still there.
I look in the mirror and see some man that somehow is me. I was a soldier on my way to a combat zone. I was young, innocent, not alone. We fought on beaches and in trenches. I can't forget the images and death stenches. I wake up from nightmares with screaming yells. I feel totally and completely out of place. I need help to keep me part of the human race. I've been suicidal. I've actually had attempts. And there's not a day that goes by I wish I wasn't here.
After 8 years, the Allerids are at the end of the line. Now they're about to try one last resort. They're headed to an unusual place high in the mountains of New Mexico. After hearing the calls of the hotline, I wanted to know more about how our troops can find peace. And it's here at the National Veterans Wellness and Healing Center at Angel Fire that I'll meet Peter and Andrea and 16 other couples. While there are vets here from different generations, they all have one thing in common. They're all haunted by the demons of war.
This retreat is not about just the veteran, it's about the extension of the family, because they also have to bear that burden with us.
For the next week, these couples will go into the trenches together. But will they be on the same side of the battlefront?
Where would you say you are right now in your marriage?
We don't get along at all. And we hardly ever talk to each other. We don't communicate at all.
Is this kind of a last resort?
In some ways, yeah, you know, at this point, he's so closed off to me and to our kids. I wonder why we're even forcing him to be around us. You know, that's what I feel like we're doing, is kind of forcing him to live a life that he doesn't want to live anymore.
What life do you want to live, Peter?
I just want to be happy, you know? I want my family to be happy, and especially my kids, you know?
For 1 week, 17 couples are gathering for an experimental approach to treating post-traumatic stress disorder. As the government offers up everything from behavioral therapy to medication, the search to find something that works has exhausted these veterans and brought them here, to Angel Fire. Together, these couples will undergo everything from yoga and equine therapy to group sessions and private counseling. It's an alternative approach, and it seems a little new agey, but these couples are ready to try anything. It begins here with a pipe ceremony led by David Singing Bear, a Native American healer and veteran too.
This pipe ceremony is a warrior's pipe ceremony. We do it at home on the res for the vets, to let them know that they have committed no tragedies, but they are honored heroes. So this time here in this next week is to wipe the tears away from the sad things we have had to do, to relinquish guilt, and to gain our honor back.
As the tobacco pipe is passed, Singing Bear's song seems to acknowledge, maybe for the first time, the pain of these wounded warriors. And though I can't explain it, the moment seems to be having an effect.
These are our spiritual warriors. We welcome them home. Takiwasa. It's good. It's good. Let it go. Don't hold it. Let it go. I love you, man.
I love you too, dude.
I love you. Just let it out. I love you very much. Creator loves you. Let it all go. It's not yours. Let it go.
For some, it begins to break the shell behind which they've taken cover. After 3 tours of combat duty in Iraq, Jim Stanek is filled with anger, anxiety, and aggression. Even the military felt that Jim was too hostile for combat. Diagnosis: post-traumatic stress disorder.
You get put in life or death situations over and over and over again. How do you forget that? The transition going from soldier to civilian was very hard.
As a man,
gut-wrenching. I didn't know who I was anymore.
In the military, the experience of psychological pain is something you just don't talk about, and acknowledging PTSD has been seen as a sign of weakness. Here, all of that is about to change.
I come home, I got pills shoved down my throat, I got thrown into a barracks room and was told to sit there, not to feel anything, be numb.
This is the first of a series of group sessions where the real work begins. Former retreat members and counselors like Candace will help guide these couples.
If you keep your rage tearing your body up and tearing your family up,
well, then I'm gonna be a miserable the rest of my life.
This is a safe place for you to start experiencing positive things in your life. And people talk about PTSD as chaos and confusion.
But the greatest support these men and women may have is in one another.
What I started to see was some of my soldiers going home and shooting their neighborhoods up. Going home and doing things that you would never believe that they would do. We were actually broken, not just shattered. We were broken when we left the bonds of brotherhood that we developed.
When you come back here to this life of luxury, this life without violence, it's extremely hard to make that adjustment. It feels like something's wrong with you. What is your mission and purpose in life now that you are not deployed to combat anymore?
On the battlefield and off, it's clear that these men form a brotherhood. But it's what happens next among the women who have stood by them that surprises me.
This is not supposed to be a veteran-centric retreat. It is supposed to be a spousal retreat. And yet, if you listen closely to the narratives we heard, the narratives of what is the good wife has no feelings. The good wife has no needs. She doesn't experience grief when family members die. She doesn't experience grief. No, she's just supposed to take it. She has no sadness. She has no voice.
As I listen, I see a battle line is being drawn.
He yells at me. I don't like that. He's very disrespectful to me. I don't like that either. By the end of the day, he's sorry, sorry, sorry. I'm tired of hearing that. Once is enough if he meant it.
I don't like being called a when he goes into a rage. I don't like being mistreated in any way, shape, or form.
My brother was in Vietnam. My oldest son went to the Gulf War. I don't want my grandson to go to war. How do we stop it?
I have to just say, I'm going to say this, I hope it doesn't sound horrible. I'm jealous of vets. You guys get attention. You're glorified. War is glorified. You know, his trauma always trumped mine. Always. And I was like, well, when do I get to matter?
I realize that these women who have soldiered on alongside their husbands have also been dealt heavy blows and are finding reinforcement in each other's struggles. For some of the men, the only option is to retreat. I find Jim surrounded by the company he knows, his brothers in arms.
Some of my anger comes out of the fact that society expects me to not be angry. That's right.
Jim was just saying when he looks at his wife next to him, he realizes how much hurt that he is inflicting upon her, and he just couldn't even sit in the room. His wife, Lindsay, tells me it's a response she's had to get used to.
I was watching you as some of the wives were talking, and they were very fired up. Did it help to hear?
Yeah. We lose ourselves in them because they're the spotlight. It takes a toll on the wives because we have to hold the world together for them while they crash to pieces and then put them back together and help them make sense of it. They're like ticking time bombs, and when they explode, you're just always gonna be in the kill zone. It's not that they're trying to hurt you, it's just, you're just in that kill blast as a wife.
I sat through just about half of our group discussion this morning, and I just had the ugliest pain in my head and just started to feel just nauseous and awful. And I guess maybe just being around other spouses and understanding for the first time that there's other women that have put themselves through this made me realize that My whole world has revolved around him, and I haven't paid any attention to anything that's going on with me.
Yeah.
I would say 90% of the time he's angry. He's just always angry at me.
Anger. It's an impulse that's useful in combat, but can be deadly in marriage. But how do these couples move past that anger?
Okay, Mark right now is developing a trust between him and the horse.
We watch as a local cowboy works to tame 2 young horses.
Patience, 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 huh? She's not quite trusted yet. There's still fear in her eyes. You can look at her eyes. She's still very afraid, very fearful. We want to be patient and we want to be listening and open, and then he'll come and give in to us, I hope.
This gentle approach becomes a powerful metaphor for what is essential in any relationship: trust.
The horses are calm now because they feel a sense of confidence. It's not driven by fear, it's driven by love.
It's what Peter and Andrea and each of these couples will try to find here at Angel Fire. A new day, a new session, a new set of rules. For both Peter and Jim, a new way of responding to conflict. The couples are asked to sit in chairs. Each one represents a point of view: themselves, their spouse, and an outside observer. You, me, observer. It's a tool to develop compassion, to see things from both sides of the battle line.
Something started changing in my life. It started unwinding, it started coming out.
She says, "Why do you keep a revolver on your bedside table?"
Why can't Jim feel? Doesn't he realize that to be alive is to feel?
I just want to count in our own marriage. I want to be important.
You're my partner. I won't give up on you.
You both have to get rid of those demons.
One by one, the couples brave their fears and confront their problems. It seems to be helping.
So the first chair is her perspective. The second one is my perspective.
That's right.
And then the third party.
Jim steps up to the challenge.
I don't understand why he has to be the way he is. What if I can't protect? I've lost enough in my life, I can't afford to lose you.
Now be the observer. What would the observer say to the two of you?
This couple's twisted.
Are we allowed to respond to that?
No.
For Jim and Lindsay, it feels like a start. Jim has responded without anger.
Thank you.
So no, I want to keep two, because this is a tool that you can use. You can sit in chairs, and it's actually, when you talk about energy, there's an energy in that chair. You know, a disorder because you have something that is running around and running around and running around. We haven't had this. I mean, we've had our,
Peter is not quite ready, but Andrea takes the lead.
All right, here's the deal. I can take everything you can dish out. I can be yelled at, I can be cussed at. I can deal with you. But I will protect my kids from you with everything in me. These are just children. And I won't stand by and let you use PTSD as a reason to not be near them. I will not watch this cycle continue.
And so now you're going to be him.
I saw some stuff that I don't want to tell you about. And you and the kids had better figure out how to deal with it. Or you always have the choice to walk out. It's up to you. maybe this situation is too dysfunctional to be raising kids in, because these kids are gonna suffer, and that's not fair to the kids.
Now it's Peter's turn.
I don't understand why he cusses and yells at me. I don't know why I can't control the way I talk to my kids when I get mad. I hate to see them scared of me. I hate myself because I can't control that rage or anger. And observers don't see this. This is like all hidden. So, I don't know.
It's clear, even to me, that whatever remains hidden in Peter is wreaking havoc on Peter and Andrea's lives. Something he experienced during his time in combat has changed him in ways he himself doesn't understand. We've all been to the memorials. We've seen the monuments and heard the stories, but most of us will never know the realities of war.
Each one of these bricks has got a story behind it that is as long as you are tall.
Not everyone who goes to war returns with post-traumatic stress, but anyone who has witnessed the darkest depths of humanity is forever changed. Angel Fire is about finding peace by any means necessary. For many of these war-torn soldiers, it means opening up about the things they can't forget, the things that make them feel anger and shame.
When I was in Vietnam, I didn't like what I did. I did what my country told me to do.
There was a time in my life where I came to a dead end. You know, there was nothing left. I was gonna take my life.
To shoot wounded prisoners and to do the horrors that I committed. How could I have done these things? You know, what am I, a monster or something?
One by one, they find the strength to let their armor fall.
Now, I'm 31 years old. I got a 4-year-old boy, and he's the one that says I'm daddy's little airborne soldier. I don't want my kid to have to go through that stuff. You know, I've done some stuff that I'm not proud of, I don't boast about. But you did it because you were told to do it. Every one of us in here that's a vet done some crazy stuff. Well, you know, the thought process for me is this is pretty crazy too. If we had the guts to step up and do that, I applaud you guys for having the guts to step up and doing this. This is probably the biggest step that I've taken since I've been out. You know, do I want to be the person that she can lean on? Yes. Which is why I took part in yoga this morning. I'd sit in a foxhole any day of the week with you. You are just as much of a soldier as I was. Hell of a soldier, babe.
After just a few days, Jim has found a way to break out of the military mindset. He and Lindsay have found a new sense of purpose, to find support in one another. Meanwhile, Peter is on the brink. Whatever it is that's been holding him back is coming to the surface. But will he find the courage to expose his pain?
So I would like to ask anybody here that has anger, fear, things that shut you down, make you fight, run away, or freeze. We're supporting each other in everything. We're welcoming you.
After 8 years of holding it in, Peter is ready to tell his story.
So when I went to Iraq, I was a medic, and all the major fighting has stopped, and we started seeing civilians. A lot of them had burnt kids. They're dismembered. I can't get out of my head. The desperation they had in their eyes. And when I close my eyes at night, I see those eyes, those people, the desperate eyes of those people. They needed more help than I could give, and we couldn't give it to them. They just went home. I know at least 99% of those little kids died.
You know, brother, we couldn't save everybody, brother. We couldn't do it. You got 2 boys. You gotta save yourself now, bro. You gotta save yourself for your boys, man. Save yourself for your boys, Pete.
I need to get some air, man.
Come on, get some air. Come on, let's go get some air, brother. Come on. You did what you could. That's all anybody can ask of you. You did what you could.
8 years he's been holding this in. I feel like everyone was just like, you did it. You just let it out.
I was finding out all that stuff along with everybody else in that room. I didn't know any of that happened either. So it was really, really shocking to hear what has been causing a lot of our struggle for the last 8 years. I think it just broke him to not be able to save a child. It gives me a reason to want to hang in there and help him through it. I just hope it helped him to get it out.
But how does a person heal from something that has wounded them on such a deep level? This is the question at the heart of post-traumatic stress disorder, the question at the heart of the epidemic of suicide and rage. With his wounds freshly opened, Peter needs spiritual guidance.
Bring it up and see what that emotion is about. Bring it up to your mind's eye, into your heart.
He returns to David Singing Bear. I wait outside and hope Peter can somehow find peace.
You deserve good, don't you, Peter? And know that you deserve your family.
I hear Singing Bear tell Peter that by acknowledging his pain, he's opened the door for healing.
You think it's all right to love yourself now? Because you did everything you could. It's not on you.
As I listen, I think about the long journey to this moment, the hope of young lives, the reality of war, the pain that follows them home. Now it's time to let go of the shame and learn to love again.
You did everything you could do, Peter, and now you know that, so you can love you. Say, I love me. I love me. I love me so much. I love me. I love me. I want my spirit back. I want my spirit back. Call yourself that one more time, Peter. Get on and come home. I want my spirit back. I want my spirit back.
That was amazing. I hope he gets it back.
Welcome back, Peter. Thank you. We've been waiting for you.
Oh, I've been waiting for you a very long time.
She loves you, Peter. What did you say when you see her?
I love her. I love her.
Because there's room for love now. If we don't love ourselves, there's no room for anything else to come in, because love brings love. We're gonna push everything out.
Now, with her husband beside her, it's Andrea's turn to let go.
Someone has hurt you.
Yes.
Your control was taken away from you.
I felt so angry.
Andrea, do you deserve better?
I deserve better.
In your deepest heart, do you deserve better?
I do deserve
Say,
better.
I deserve better.
I deserve better.
Are you ready to let this go?
I am ready to let it go.
When do you want to let it go?
Right now.
Okay, bring it up, breathe it in, and blow it out and let it go right now. It's not yours anymore. Never was. Belonged to someone else that gave it to you.
It's impossible for me to understand how it happened, but something has changed for Peter and Andrea.
Smile into your heart, Andrea. Smile into it. Tell Peter, I love you so much because I love me.
I love you because I love me.
Who loves you?
I love you.
Who loves you?
I love me.
Okay.
Who loves you?
I love me.
Peter's spirit has come home. I had heard that there was no cure for PTSD, only tools for managing its symptoms. But here at Angel Fire, I see a light has been cast in dark places.
Right? Who do you love?
Who do you love?
Who do you love?
I love me, Andrea. Who do you love?
I know you do now.
Okay, I need male participants. You, and Jeff. Outside. Oh, that's you, and you. Outside the front door. Okay, guys, at ease.
Attention to order! Reset! Oh! Order! Oh! Teresa, mi amor, mi esposa, I present this Purple Heart to you for all the scars that you have bared for the past 34 years.
This ceremony is not for the ones who suffered on the battlefield. It's for the ones who never donned a uniform, but served our country as they supported their spouses and were wounded in the process.
We'll make this simple, and I'll just give it to you.
As the men pin the Purple Hearts to their wives, I think about the courage it took to come here, to work past the pain and anger, and to find strength in one another.
I can't let PTSD consume me anymore.
Pretty unbelievable, the things that
There's
happened.
a lot of great work that was done here this week. You know, there's a lot of things that I look at that I've done great in this world, and this is probably the greatest thing that I've accomplished so far in my life.
Why?
I was causing damage, you know, to the woman that I love. Where does that make any sense? I'm a better man for my wife now.
It's for all the times you've cried, all the times that made you mad at me, all the times that we don't get along. That's when I tell you I love you and use Purple Heart.
I got
Peter and Andrea will never be the people they were before the war, but at least now it seems they can move forward together.
I was watching you two tonight, and Peter, for the first time I saw you had your arm around Andrea and your hand around her neck. What did that feel like?
There was a touch of that kind of butterfly feeling, and it's been many years since I've had that. Many years.
What did it feel like for you?
I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to be close to her, and I hadn't felt like that for a long time.
How do you feel right now?
I feel happy.
When's the last time you said that?
I don't know. I don't think I remember.
He's smiling, and his eyes have life in them.
Would you have ever thought that you'd be here now feeling this way?
I have to say something that I never thought I would say. And that is, I believe now that Peter can actually recover from everything that he saw in Iraq and everything that he's been through.
Peter and Andrea have been pulled from a dark place. But across the country, veterans and soldiers are still struggling.
Thank you for calling the Veterans Crisis Hotline. How may I help you?
But those soldiers do not have to face the fight alone.
Okay, I understand that you're having some suicidal thoughts. Is that true? Okay.
They'll put the blanket over you, and you can reunite your hearts as husband and wife. Welcome home. Oh, right. Welcome home as a couple.
As long as they have the courage to ask for help, there will be men and women ready to answer their call.
You know, you deserve help. You deserve to be happy. And you know what? We all go through times where we can't do it on our own. And it's difficult to reach out. You know, I think today is the beginning of something good.
All right, welcome home. He loves you, brother.
I love me.